Howdy. It's probably go back to the channel. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't checked out my past video, make sure you check out my past video. You know what I'm saying? Today, we got a video from Everything Always. Avengers Doomsday new plot leak. Doom and Iron Man was Kang's plan all along.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires.
Before we even start this, bro, I always knew Kang was a part of Dr. Doom's story, bro, because how are they going to bring in Dr. Doom without showing how they got rid of Kang? Well, Thanos is already, you know what I'm saying, but how they going to get rid of Kang without showing it, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, they going to have to show how, because like I did in my other video, how I was talking about Dr. Doom been watching for a long time, like you get inside that castle, bro. I'm pretty sure some way, somehow, bro, if that theory is real, Dr. Doom, there is going to be a scene where Dr. Doom and Kang have a fight, bro. And I feel like that fight might be cinema. That might be cinema, bro. To be honest, bro, the first few minutes of Avengers Doomsday might actually be fight scenes. And if it is, bro, we in for a good one, bro. But how are they connected, bro?
What we have today is a potentially
the story,
huge plot leak for Avengers Doomsday that examines Dr. Doom's origin, his ties to Tony Stark, what it all means for the sacred timeline, and how He Who Remains had this all by design in order to not only deal with the multiverse variants of himself, but to also deal with versions of Dr. Doom. We've got the full plot leak revealed by a Twitter scoopster. We're of course going to issue the normal spoiler warning, then read through it in full. We'll add any context or annotate it where we can with what we already know about the film, and then if these details are true, attempt to explain what it means for the upcoming end of the multiverse saga, Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. We're breaking it all down, but first I want to tell you guys briefly about an opportunity to come meet me, say hi, and check out my band. We will be announcing more dates across the US for 2026, but on November 15th, we're going to be playing in the greater Tampa area. Tickets are cheap, only $15, but extremely limited. I'll be doing a casual meet and greet when doors open, and after the show, so come by, say hi, check out the band. It's a great time. There's a link down in the description and comments, and we'll see you in Tampa on November 15th. Okay, so first up, the normal spoiler warning when we cover plot leaks of this kind. This is not anonymous, posted to Reddit or 4chan, or rather revealed on Twitter via the Twitter scoopster majestic_UCM. You can follow them by that same handle. This was a rather lengthy expose, and while we remind you guys to take everything with a grain of salt, we of course give a lot more reverence to anyone, anonymous or not, that's willing to actually put their name on it. So take that as you will, but if this is in any way going to ruin the Avengers Doomsday experience for you, I ain't mad at you. Now would be the time to back out. Otherwise, let's dive right in. The leak reads like this. He Who Remains created Earth 616, creating a quote-unquote sacred and controlled timeline to hide the true history of the multiverse. Victor Von Doom was considered too dangerous, and that's why He Who Remains rewrote him inside of the 616. The rewriting turned Doom into Tony Stark. Same altered mind, new identity, and life as a hero. Tony Stark always felt like he didn't fit in with his family because his real life had been stolen. Those sensations of quote-unquote not belonging are echoes of Doom's original identity wanting to awaken. The time travels
that Tony... Bro, I don't watch these videos before I watch them. Bro, I literally said, bro, Marlon gotta put me on, bro. I literally said in my other video, bro, about when they were talking about how Steve Rogers is most likely gonna be the one that Dr. Doom is after, bro. I literally said, what if when they went back in time, when Tony Stark and Captain America went back in time together, because they went back to the same exact time together. What if something happened to Tony during that time, bro? I told y'all, bro. I don't be getting no scoops or nothing like that either, you feel me? I don't, bro. It's just... And I don't read the comics either, bro. You feel me? That's how you know I'm tapped in, bro. Subscribe to your boy.
That Tony used in Endgame were deliberately allowed by He Who Remains. He Who Remains allowed those travels because he needed a variant of Loki to survive outside of his control. The survival of Loki's variant was part of the He Who Remains plan to prepare for future events. The ultimate purpose of He Who Remains was not a permanent peace, but to prepare for a multiversal war against the other Kang variants that betrayed him.
Wait, so He Who Remains is Kang. We finna check this out right now. Kang the Conqueror is He Who Remains. Okay, so now I know that they talking about Kang. So are they saying the other kings, the other kings rebelled against him, or they start doing things that were against what he was trying to do? So is he trying to say there's a king that's there's a good king out of all those variants, and you try to be the good person, just like in Peacemaker? How what was his name? Was his name Morty? The black dude, bro. How he was like the good alien or the good butterfly out of all the butterflies. He was trying to be the one that stopped them from doing certain stuff. Are they saying this is how this king was? He was the good one, and then everybody, all his other variants, turned against him because he was trying to do good. That'll be, bro. They gotta show this somehow, and I feel like they had a movie prepared to show all of this. They just pushed it to the back burners. Like I said, bro, I don't think they got rid of that script for King the Conqueror, bro. I think they still got it, and it's fully finished. And I think they might even use some of the things in that script and put it in. I was going to put it in Doctor Doomsday. They gonna put some of the stuff that they have from King the Conqueror script in Doomsday. I guarantee you, especially if they're not doing a King movie, this will honestly be the best way to kind of show some of his stories by putting it in Doomsday. And I don't think they're just gonna throw away that script, bro. They're gonna use
the other King variants that betrayed him. When Stark dies, a key piece of He Who Remains control disappears. With the death of He Who Remains, the barriers containing realities break, and all the versions of Doom come back into existence. Among those versions, the Doom who fought and lost in the multiversal war recovers his memory. Upon recovering his memory, that Doom feels humiliation for having been turned into the puppet of He Who Remains.
Bro, they have to show this in the movie, bro. They have to show Kang beat up Dr. Doom, bro. They have to. It would honestly be so wrong if they decide, wait. Before you even say that, I'm gonna say this first. It would be wrong if they decide not to show Dr. Doom get beat up because it's his movie. You know what I'm saying? We have to see Dr. Doom lose against King, bro. And apparently, there's a lot of versions of Dr. Doom. Well, apparently, obviously there's variants. So it's you probably thought of that scenario of him having multiple variants of himself. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that there's multiple, there's one that he changed the identity of, and then there's a Dr. Doom that was beaten, and he recovers his memories of, getting beat like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Bro, they gotta show this, bro. So which Dr. Doom is it? Are we gonna get in this movie, bro? Are we gonna get both? Because the way he's saying it is making it seem like they gonna find a way to use both Dr. Doom variants, bro, and put them in the movie. There's gonna be a Dr. Doom variant with Tony face, and there's gonna be a Dr. Doom variant with his own face that he lost against King the Conqueror. Or is this all one person?
The humiliation becomes his driving force. Doom doesn't just want revenge, he wants to rebuild the multiverse in his own way. In the post-credit scene of the Fantastic Four, Dr. Doom finds Franklin Richards. Doom doesn't steal his power, he manipulates him. He shows him the hidden truth about the origin of the multiverse. Doom's goal is to convince Franklin that together they can rewrite the real history. Doom needs the help of other powerful beings besides Franklin to remake the multiverse. Part of Doom's plan is to corrupt or use versions of heroes as tools to rewrite realities. Avengers Doomsday will kick off with Doom trying to recruit and manipulate Franklin and other entities to create a new origin for the multiverse where he is the architect. Okay, so you guys know me very generally when I read through a plot leak, and for the very first time I have an inkling as to whether or not it's just an amalgamation of all of the leaks that...
So is it King's fault that he's doing this, or is it Steve Rogers? Because now the blame shifts a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, at first it was like he's doing this because Steve Rogers, caused the incursion, But now they saying it seems like his motivation is really because he lost against King the Conqueror, and he's just like, bro, I'm not gonna take no fucking hill like that. You got me fucked up. I'm spinning the block, bro. I'm coming to get my W, bro. You're not gonna just beat my ass, Because I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's how a lot of people's villain arc stories start, bro. They lose and they feel bad and humiliated, and they decide to turn up, bro. That's how I really be all the time, bro. So I could see Dr. Doom being like this, you know what I'm saying? I could see that being a good reason, but I'm just saying they have to show the fight. At some point in the movie, they have to show the fight that led up to him being the way he is. And I do want to know, is this Dr. Doom the same one that steals the face, or are these two separate Dr. Dooms? Because, there's variants. it really makes me wonder, are there going to be two different Doctor Dooms in this movie, but possibly one gets killed off, or the other one just gets showed just to kind of show us like where what he did in the story that kind of helped push the story along, or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? I want to see this fight between Kang and Doctor Doom.
Before it, this doesn't feel like that. This actually feels like something new. And as I briefly mentioned during the prologue, it definitely attempts to touch on some of the major themes in the multiverse saga.
So
not just ignore Kang, but rather
Loki?
use what He Who Remains and Kang had already established as canon, and through a large part of this saga for the last 5 years, to explain where in the world Doctor Doom has been. And I like the idea that amongst the other multiversal Kang variants, Kang He Who Remains knew that another problem would be Doctor Doom, and turning Doctor Doom into a hero instead of a villain, and doing it in a place called the Sacred Timeline, where presumably a lot of the things that were important were all contained within this. The Loki variant he needed to escape, his variant in Victor Timely, specific relics that may have also been placed there on purpose, like the Bangles or the 10 Rings, and other characters and variants, perhaps like...
I forgot about the 10 Rings too, bro. It's so much that's going to be going on in this movie, dog. Doctor Doom with the 10 rings, bro gonna be a menace to society. He already is, bro. He stole a baby, and now you finna give him the 10 rings. We saw what old boy did with the 10 rings. I'm not talking about Shang-Chi. I'm talking about Shang-Chi's father. We saw what he was doing with the ring, bro. Imagine what Doctor Doom with, bro. That's too much power. That's too much power. But this is really the reason why we need to see him get beat up by Kang, bro, because if he's gonna be this powerful, bro, we gotta see him take his L first. You know what I'm saying? We gotta see him take his biggest L first. Well, his biggest L before his biggest L, because we know he's gonna fight all the heroes and lose, bro. It's just heroes always win most of the time. I haven't seen a movie really where a villain wins. You know what I'm saying? Unless the movie was like a villain-oriented movie. You know what I'm saying? With like no hero type. We gotta see Doctor Doom get beat up before he get all this power, bro.
Steve Rogers, that'll become part of the entities he's talking about, that he needs their help in his conquest to rebuild the multiverse. It also aptly explains his motivation that he was played at the hands of He Who Remains, that he's basically been a cog in the wheel, had his whole origin erased.
It seems like
so
Kang
He Who Remains could quote-unquote remain safe from the danger that is Doctor Doom. So certainly the Doom that we know from the comics, and the ego that's always tied up in his character, would definitely have a vendetta and be on a warpath to not only get his origin back, but to one-up Kang and say, hey, look, you're not the most powerful being in the multiverse. Forget He Who Remains. I'm going to become God Emperor Doom. And if right now Loki, God of Stories, happens to...
See, I would think if this is going on, I would think Kang would actually be trying to stop him as well. Unless Kang died already. Unless all his variants died, I should say. But if they all didn't die, I would think he would try to stop Doctor Doom from doing anything, which means Kang the Conqueror will possibly be in the movie. See, what I'm thinking now, they're going to put Kang the Conqueror in the movie, but they're not going to show his face. If they not bringing Jonathan Majors back as Kang the Conqueror, bro, they're going to use Kang the Conqueror's character, but they just not going to show his face. They probably going to use his voice, probably going to show a silhouette or something like that. Because it seemed like Kang the Conqueror is going to be a part of this movie, bro. From my perspective, he's the main reason why Doctor Doom is doing everything he's doing right now. He humiliated, bro. He bullied, bro. Kang is basically Doctor Doom's bully, and Doctor Doom is trying to get him back. This is what's going on right now, bro. It's a bully story, bro. Kang the Conqueror has to be in this movie some way, somehow, bro. Whether it's his voice, a silhouette of him, whether they use colors or stickers or something like that to show that he's a part of the story. You know what I mean? Just bring Jonathan Majors back, actually. You know?
Stand in his way, well then so be it. Speaking of which, because there were some details left out of this part, but the way that he's explaining it is that Loki being able to escape and during the time travel events of Avengers Endgame is part of He Who Remains' plan, not to again be a permanent solution, but to allow Loki, God of Stories, to then prepare a multiverse Avengers, say, for the multiversal war that's coming to defeat all those variants we saw in the post-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But what happened as a subsequent consequence of that time travel was Tony Stark's death, maybe a variable he wasn't accounting for. That let Doctor Doom loose, which trumps his variants now that are being hunted and controlled by the TVA, which, if you think about it, and according to this leak, if Kang was truly allowing this variant of Loki to become Loki, God of Stories, in order to face down his own Kang variants from across the multiverse, maybe he just by essence put all the power needed for God Emperor Doom to become so by just defeating Loki. So he may have been trying to architect this to make someone powerful enough to face down all the Kang variants, and at the same time not realizing he was setting up a pathway for Doctor Doom to become ultimately this powerful. What I will say about this leak is it goes a long way in explaining things in a fresh way that we haven't heard a million times at the channel. We had not heard that Kang might be responsible for why Doctor Doom
Hims makes Harry grow
simple. Ain't no Mike. He
the symbol is popping a daily chew.
Looks like Tony Stark, or rather,
it ain't no Mike.
a Tony Stark in order to rewrite Doctor Doom from a villain into a hero. We sort of all assumed that this was at Victor Von Doom's hand, something that he attempted to do, that he wanted to do, not that he was forced into doing or forced into becoming, which could really explain not only their connection, but his vendetta, the reason he's trying to now become his own architect of a multiverse or rewrite history as he sees it, because he was caged in the first place. Now, as much as I like a lot of things about this plot leak, I'm going to be honest. I have one
huge plot leak, so it ain't 100%.
I've maintained at the channel the whole time, and I think it's been confirmed, and I'll explain why, that Marvel Studios is not going to bring up Kang the Conqueror in any way. I feel like it would be very hard to explain all of this story without having Jonathan Majors shoot some film for them in order to show what was going on, which we know he's certainly not doing. And although recently he said he would be willing to come back and it's the multiverse and you never know, the truth is that when Kevin Feige spoke about Jonathan Majors at that recent press conference, he couldn't even call him by name. He called him the Kang actor. I think that is evidence enough that they are not going to be referencing Kang in any way, that when we heard of him last at the end of Loki Season 2, that's going to be it. Again, they won't have Jonathan Majors to film.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think Marvel is doing a play, bro. A lot of these movie companies and stuff, bro, been acting like certain stuff is gonna happen and then didn't happen, or they act like something isn't going to happen, but it did happen. Kind of like what 50 Cent was doing with Power and stuff, bro. Who knows, bro? I'm not going to lie. I don't trust these companies now, bro. They'll say one thing just to throw everybody off so nobody... So people won't be like... They won't know the story already. You know what I'm saying? They start thinking some other things. So then when they actually see what's on screen, they actually surprised still. They not like, oh, well, we knew that was going to happen. We was talking about it the whole time. I think that's what Marvel's trying to do, bro. Trying to throw people off track. Off of these leaks, bro.
Many of this backstory about what was going on with the sacred timeline and the Kang variants, and yes, there might be some B-roll floating around, but certainly not enough to do this the way they want. They are focusing on Doctor Doom. They could use him to explain that story, but again, without Jonathan Majors there, without Kang, this is a lot to explain in the past without showing it on screen, something I don't think they're willing to do, because I don't think that they're willing to bring up Jonathan Majors or Kang the Conqueror in any way at all. They want that to be left alone. They want to pivot into Doctor Doom. I've maintained that the whole time, and that's my only hang-up basically with this plot leak. It's just involving a lot of Kang, and I don't suspect we're going to see Kang at all during Doomsday or Avengers Secret War. Still, I like the explainers. They are fresh ideas for what was going on, and I do think that they do need to address what's happened in the multiverse saga. I just think they're not going to. You guys let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm all ears as always, and if you don't agree with me...
Hey, man, I honestly think Kang the Conqueror might pop up in this movie, bro. They might just surprise everybody and bring Jonathan Majors back. But it's a possibility they won't, you know what I'm saying? Because we know the situation you had, a lot of companies would run away from that, you know what I'm saying? Just because they don't want anything to do with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if a lot of people are on Jonathan Majors' side, there's still some bad comments on it, you know what I'm saying? And they don't want that to be attached to Marvel, which is understandable, you know what I'm saying? But I do feel like it's messed up because he didn't do nothing, bro. Stand 10 toes with y'all people, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro, you know what I'm saying? But I do think Kang is gonna be in the movie, bro. The way that plot leak right there, it's a good plot leak. I'm not saying it's the best one, but it's a good plot leak, you know what I'm saying? But they would have to show Kang the Conqueror in the movie if they do decide to do that, which is why I think if that is if they really are going through with it, they might be trying to throw people off the leaks by saying like, yeah, King the actor, you know what I'm saying, to make it seem like, yeah, we don't really mess with Jonathan Majors, so people won't know that they actually filming with him right now, type shit. But I don't know, man. Y'all let me know how excited y'all are about this poly, man. Do y'all want to see this on screen? Y'all want to see Dr. Doom and King fight it out, bro? Or do y'all want his origin story and reason for doing the things he's doing now to be a different reason?